It seems like these 16-bit arcade racers just keep coming to the Nintendo Switch, and we have another one here today with Retro Highway, which actually started out as a mobile game in 2018, but has recently made its way here on the Nintendo Switch. So just like many of these other arcade racers we've covered, if you're a fan of Road Rash or Super Hang-On, Outrun, you will feel right at home here. The focus in Retro Highway is on challenges, as there aren't really any other racers to worry about, so the game is really based on seeing just how far you can get into a track with collecting coins and cranking up the highest score possible. And while there aren't other racers, you will be able to race against your own ghost, and there are things like hitting jumps, swerving around vehicles, collecting coins, which will be your main obstacle here. Completing these challenges allows you to unlock and purchase new levels and new bikes. The controls, I will say, are tight and responsive, as it's incredibly easy to swerve around and through traffic, and you'll find yourself driving more and more dangerously as you continue to play because of just how easy this game is to pick up and play. After about 10 minutes, you'll find yourself lane splitting, ramping off trucks, blasting nitrous, and it is certainly a bit of fun. The challenges themselves consist of things like using nitro for a certain amount of time in a run, or having a certain amount of time in the air, reaching a certain length in a run, going so far without collecting coins, things like that. You'll have 3 challenges at any time, but thankfully you can skip them if you find one too difficult or just want to change it, and they sort of work on a cooldown timer, so you can change it as much as you want. Fortunately, when you crash, you can choose to spend some of the coins you've earned to continue the run. You can do this 3 times, starting out with 50 coins, then 100, then 200. And this is typically going to be used if you are pretty close to getting the next objective or completing the next challenge, but it does get slightly more expensive as you progress. The upgrades you can find include a shield for surviving a few obstacles, a coin multiplier, as the high score, again, is the main driver here, and then a magnet which will attract coins. You can also purchase these before a run, or again, you can find them in the stage themselves. I will say visually, even though it's done in a 16-bit throwback, the graphics and effects look great. There's just a satisfying explosion anytime you run into a car or an obstacle. And there's definitely some polish on this game that you don't see on other sort of newer retro-style games, especially with the effects and lighting. Everything just looks clean and very nice. There are a handful of different levels you can participate in, like the moon, which has a different gravity when you hit jumps, or the Rocky Mountains, which is an icy level where you'll have to watch out for a blizzard that'll blow you around the stage, and you'll need to avoid slipping on ice. Each stage certainly has a new challenge that does give the game a little bit of life, since there's only a few stages. You'll also probably jump around to complete some of the challenges, especially ones that use airtime, where you'll need to be on the moon to complete that, or ones that involves avoiding puddles, so you'll need to go to the icy stage or stages that have oil slicks on them in order to complete them. I'd say the Retro Highway has some serious Road Rash vibes, not only in the gameplay, but also in its soundtrack. In fact, I'll even do a little side-by-side here just for comparison. Granted, there are only a few tracks, but chances are you won't really be playing this game for hours on end, so in a single sitting, the soundtrack ends up working, albeit a bit short. It can be picked up on Switch for around $6, which I think sort of puts it in this sweet spot for retro-style arcade racers. There are, of course, games like Horizon Chase Turbo, 80s Overdrive, and Hot Shot Racing, but none of those are on motorcycles, so Retro Highway does offer sort of a different take if you're into this kind of genre. It is also available on mobile, on both Android and iOS, and Xbox if you'd like to go that route instead. So ultimately what we have here, I think, is a game that's great for short pick-up-and-play sessions if you're into these old retro arcade style racers.
If you like this episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button or check out our podcast on iTunes or come hang out on Twitch. We'll see you next time, and as always, thanks for watching.